What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. I am your host, Jay Nixon, and I am not super excited about this week's episode. It's not that I'm not excited to come here and chat with you as I do weekly. Just the topic in and of itself it's heavy. It's not something that I really relish or look forward to talk about, but it's something I feel like that it just has to be talked about in hopes of getting us to a better place in a better space in time and in life. Like, I can't wait until I get to just strictly get back to talking about crushing weight loss and transformations and positive mindset and crushing goals and seeing and listening to you guys achieve phenomenal things in your life. Like, that's what I can't wait to get back to. But right now we're stuck in such a weird paradigm of nonsense and overwhelm and chaos that I feel like I have to do anything and everything in my power to help you get out of that place that you're in. And if my podcast, if something I say can push you in the direction of getting out of that chaotic vortex, that chaotic circle that you're finding yourself in now more than ever, then I feel like I just have to do it. And right now, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if you look around, it is tumultuous, for lack of a better term. I mean, we've got everything that's been going on for the last 2 years with the big cove. We got the vax. We got the Afghanistan. We got the hurricane. We've got, I mean, there's got to be something else I'm even probably, we've got wildfires everywhere. We've got gubernatorial recalls. We have got chaos at its highest level anywhere and everywhere you look. If you want chaos, guys, you can find it right now. If you want overwhelm, guys, you can find it right now. You don't even have to look very far. And it's heartbreaking. I'm going to be honest with you. My heart is broken for a multitude of things that are going on right now. I mean, we just lost 13 beautiful souls. I mean, more than that, let's be honest. The 13 soldiers that perished in Afghanistan, massively heartbreaking. Children, for lack of a better term, especially to me. I mean, if I had kids, those could be my kids. That's how young they are, doing what they do to try to protect us so that we can live in a free world, in a free country. Free world, I mean, that's a crazy ass statement, right? But even a free country is beginning to sound a little more crazy than it used to. I mean, I know 10 years ago, I was telling somebody the other day, man, if any of this stuff was even talked about or whatever 10 years ago, like, we would have been a united front and said, hell no, not here, man, not in America, not today. And now we seem to be more divided than ever. So today I want to talk to you guys about 5 emotions that are ruining your life. Listen to me, 5 emotions that are ruining your life. And emotions, I want to talk for a second about that before we even dive into what they are. Emotions just, they give you context. They give you an expression of feeling about an event. They're not required actions. Like, you are not required to act upon every emotion that you feel. I know that may be mind-blowing to some of you guys, but you're not. A lot of the emotions you feel are false. And I'm going to give you one right now. I'm going to start off with a heavy hitter. I may not even get off of this. We may not even get to 5 because I am so upset about this. Hate. I've never in my life, I'll be 47 years old in October. I've never in my life experienced the level of unbridled dissension and, for lack of a better word, hate that I'm witnessing at this stage of my life. And I'm going to be honest with you, it scares the shit out of me, because we're all humans, guys, but we're not treating ourselves very humanely. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even think some of you guys hate the things that you say you're hating. I think you've been indoctrinated into this false belief system that that's how you're supposed to behave. That if someone disagrees with you about anything, then you automatically have to hate that person. You have to cancel that person. You have to eradicate that person. That person's a piece of shit, a scumbag, a dirtball, or you insert whatever word it is that you want. And I think you've been taught that somehow over the course of the last few years through the media and through just the nonsense that's being portrayed out there. I can tell you right now, I probably believe a lot of different things than you believe about a multitude of things, and I do not hate you. I don't even dislike you. Secret, I love you as a human being, as another fellow American, as another fellow human if you're listening from somewhere else other than America. Like I do not need to dislike you, much less ever hate you. I can't think of one human being that I hate. I can't. No matter what that person says, no matter what that person is, if they're vehemently against everything I believe in, I have zero hate for that person. Zero. Zero contempt, zero dislike, zero anything. There are some people that I drastically disagree with. There are some situations going on in the world right now that I drastically disagree with. But I don't hate anyone who is perpetrating or projecting those belief systems. It's not required, right? I am not required to dislike or hate someone because I disagree with them. And if you're allowing this, I'm going to even use the word perceived because I honestly, deep down in my heart, don't believe that you have the ability to hate with the amount of venom that you're portraying at this very stage. Like I think some of the things that you're saying are just being exacerbated because of the world of social media, because there's really no consequences for saying like just awful things. And I think that you're so overwhelmed and you're so hurt by the way of the world right now that when hurt people, right? Hear me when I say that hurt people. If you're hurting someone with your words, with your actions, with the way you're treating them, it's because you're hurt. Whole people who are just peaceful and calm and happy and full of love and empathy don't hurt people, guys. They don't say things that are going to try to defame someone just because they believe differently than them. They don't go out of their way to try to make other people feel inferior or stupid. I mean, some of the things that I've heard from both sides of the wall or the fence or the moat or whatever the hell it is that you guys have created. And I say you guys because I'm not playing on either team. I'm playing on team human. I'm playing on team we got to be better. And so that's the team that you got to get on if you really want to. I was going to use the word win. If you really want to win, if you really want to overcome where we are right now. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't believe that we are as divided as we are being made to believe we are. I think the media has a big hand in that. I think there's a lot of outside forces that have a vested benefit in keeping us divided and making us think we're divided on all fronts, on all camps, from the big C to the big V to the A to all the things. I don't think we're as off as you are being led and portrayed to believe, because we can't be. At the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all human. And that's what you got to get back to. This hate or perceived hate or this thing that you've got stirring up inside of you, I need you to evaluate it. It's a 100% a waste of your time. And guys, if you're playing in that game, if you're playing in the hate game, you can't be happy. Hate and happiness cannot coexist. And don't you want to be happy? Isn't that the end game and the end goal for all of us? Isn't that really, truly, honestly, what would bring you fulfillment is happiness? Are you really thriving if you're living a life of hate? You can't be. It's impossible. It is 100% impossible. And I don't even believe that you're as hate-filled as you may even think that you are. Evaluate it. Pause for a second and say, what am I doing? Why am I attacking another human just because they don't want a blank, or just because they do want a blank? Like, why am I using my energy for hate as opposed to love? Hate is so hard. It's so draining. It's so taxing. It's not fulfilling. You never feel better. but just love someone. Even if someone disagrees with you, love them more, love them harder, pray for them more. Not that they will believe what you believe. I mean, think about that for a second. Like, if we lived in a world where everybody believed and thought and said the same things, I mean, what would be going on? Like, it would be there'd be zero fulfillment in that. But you've got to move away from this notion of, if you don't believe what I believe, if you don't do what I want you to do, then therefore you are my enemy. Guys, that has been created by someone outside of you. You don't believe that. You weren't born believing that. And that has been created and manifested inside of you by an outside force. So what I need you to do is I need you to start, I'm going to say this multiple times throughout this podcast. I need you to audit your input. Where are you getting that information from? And if it's from the television, that is someone that you do not even know. That is someone that you don't know anything about. That's someone you'll never meet. That's someone that you'll never speak to. So be careful of that input. Be careful of another human telling you to treat another human this way because they don't believe what you believe. That's dangerous. That's extremely dangerous. And we're moving into very, very dangerous times. We've got to get united. We've got to get connected again. We've got to get back to communicating as civilized humans again. And the only way that happens is if we stop the noise, we stop yelling, we stop screaming, we stop saying things that, God, can you imagine hearing some of the things you're hearing 10 years ago? I can't. Blows my mind what's going on. I'm seeing families being disbanded because of disbelief. I'm seeing cultures and communities saying things to each other that you wouldn't say to your worst enemy. We are not enemies. Stop treating each other like you're somebody's enemy. We're not the enemy. You're not the enemy. We're on the same team. You've got to start thinking and believing that. The hate right now is ruining your life. The hate you feel right now is more damning than anything going on in the outside world. It's more damning than the V, the C, the war, the everything. It's more damning than all of that, because it will kill you from the inside out. Number 2 goes right along with that, and it's anger. I think some of you guys have this manufactured anger that you're spewing all over everybody because you're scared, you're hurt, you're fearful, you're overwhelmed, you're chaotic on the inside. And the only way you know how to manifest that is through anger. Anger is a secondary emotion. Anger is often referred to, well, not often, anger is referred to as a secondary emotion because anger tends to resort from some other thing. We're trying to protect ourselves from something. It's generally fear-based. We're generally full of some kind of fear or anxiety or overwhelm or whatever that might be, and we portray that as anger because it's anger it's such an emotional reaction, but it never has a benefit. Have you ever benefited from anger? I bet the answer is 99% of the time no. And hate and anger are going right along together. Like, it's that secondary emotion that you're afraid of something. You've been told that you have to be afraid of other people. You have to be told that this person doesn't do what you do, or this person does the opposite of what you do, that you should be angry toward them and hate them because you should be afraid of them. Because we're all human beings. Why on earth should we be afraid of each other? We should not be in this state of magnified fear toward each other because we have different thoughts. We've got to move away from that. You're not that mad. How do you feel after you have one of those angry outbursts? How do you feel when you have a day filled with like hate-filled rage? Are you exhausted at the end of the day? Or are you fulfilled and feel happy and abundance and joy? Exhaustion, right? You feel more chaotic. You feel worse than you felt when the day started. Can't wait to go to bed. And then you get up and do it all again because you've been programmed. It's the reticular activating system at work inside of your brain. Unfortunately, the human brain, the human in and of itself, is the most sophisticated supercomputer on the planet. And it will give you more of what you're focused on. And if you're consistently being fed fear, 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 man, is that going to be hard to overcome, because that fear is going to manifest itself into other forms, because it's hard to emotionally express fear, right? Fear is expressed in other forms. It's expressed through anger. It's expressed through hate. It's expressed through tears, rage, violence. Very rarely love, right? The two things don't go together. Right, and that leads me to number three, and number three is fear. I've kind of already started to talk about it, but fear is that thing that is usually predicated on someone else interjecting a thought or a belief into our brain, and then we take that thought or belief and then we magnify it with unrealistic, magical, for lack of a better term, things that are never, ever, ever going to happen. Like, some of you guys have such fear about the person that doesn't think how you think, that it's been put into your brain that they could kill you. They could make you sick and you could die because they don't do what you wanted to do, or vice versa. Both sides feel the same way. They feel like that when you've been told that this person is dangerous to you. Who told you that? Who told you that another human is dangerous to you? And why did you believe that? And if you just tell me, Jay, I heard it on the news. I read it on the front page of the New York Times. I read it on Yahoo. I read it on the internet. I saw it on Facebook. If you tell me that, that tells me that you don't even know what you're talking about. That tells me those aren't your thoughts. Those aren't your beliefs. Those are someone else's beliefs that have been so pounded into your skull that you have now just taken them on as yourself. You've taken them on as your own belief, because the world right now is so chaotic, you don't know what to believe. And the thought of manufacturing your own belief system about how things are, why things are, how things will be, the thought of that is just so overwhelming. You're like, I don't want anything to do with that. Just tell me what I'm supposed to think. Tell me what I'm supposed to do. Tell me how I'm supposed to talk. Tell me how I'm supposed to act. Tell me how I'm supposed to treat other people. If you look at it, guys, it's being laid out for you through the news and through the media and through the hate speech on social media. It's being laid out for you how you're supposed to think. And if you don't think like that, then I'm going to come get you. Right? I heard Joe Rogan say the other day, the woke need to be really careful, because eventually they will begin to turn on themselves. And I'm already starting to see that. Like, if you're I want you to listen to something very clearly, very, very, very closely and clearly for me. I've always had this belief system. Eventually it will be you, right? And what I mean by that is, I've always known that if there's a group of people that don't have the best intentions, maybe they treat other people poorly, they talk poorly about other people, they don't do the most uplifting and righteous things, they don't do the right thing, and you're part of that group, eventually that group's going to turn on you. Those kind of groups eat themselves, right? That's why they don't last very long. Now, they get loud and they get powerful for a minute, but then they eat themselves. And so you got to be really careful at what you're following and what you're allowing into your brain. Like this whole cancel culture thing, this whole woke nation of everything, those things are already starting to eat themselves. And that's why the media is manufacturing more fear for you to get invested in. If you think about it, I'm not even going to go into the labels of what they are, because I don't want to bring them back up again. But if you think back 6 to 12 months ago of all the things that were being talked about, certain organizations and movements that were, if we don't do this, the world's coming to an end. Where are they now? You haven't heard a word about them, because they got what they needed to get out of them. They got the fear manifested inside of people. And then now it's expanding to a new level and a new level and a new level and a new level. And now it's even turning to you versus you, us versus us. If you don't believe what I tell you to believe, you're a horrible person. That's the craziest statement I've ever even said. I didn't mean it. I wanted you to get I want you to hear how stupid that sounds. If you don't believe what I want you to believe, well, then you're a horrible person. Who in the hell and who can tell someone that? Right. And the caveat to all of this is we're not talking about murder here. We're not talking about horrific crimes against humanity. I'm talking about us, humans. You can disagree with me all day long, and I can still love you. What a concept. What a wild concept, right? You better start paying attention, guys. Freedom isn't free, as cased by the 13 lives that were just lost in Afghanistan. And I say 13, I mean, there's so many more Afghans that have lost their lives because of the situation. So many Americans. We got the hurricane. I'm sure there's people that have perished from that I'm not even aware of. I don't watch the news. We got a lot of craziness going on right now. But the one thing we have is each other. Have you thought about that? What's the one constant that we have? It's guys, the government's not coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save us. But that's okay, because we can save ourselves. We're that strong. We're that powerful. We're that mighty. But we can't do it unless we're united. And to be united doesn't mean we have to be the exact same. Doesn't mean we have to believe the exact same thing. It doesn't mean we can't disagree. But what it means is we have to stop this manufactured hate and anger and fear in and towards and about each other. We've got to get rid of it. We don't have it. We don't have another option. We've got to shut it down. We've got to start acting as responsible Americans again. And that starts with treating your neighbor like your neighbor, treating other humans like they're human. If you are someone who is caught up in this world, I'm done. I was gonna go. I have two more. I'm not even gonna go over them. I feel like what I've talked about is I'm not gonna water it down by giving you 5. I mean, those 3, man. If we just focus on those and then get unfocused on those, you know what I'm talking about? If we focus on what are we doing? Why am I doing this? Do I really hate? Do I really have this much anger inside? Or am I just scared? It's okay to be scared, guys. It's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to be chaotic right now. I feel like I'm more peaceful than probably 99% of the people I know, and it's because I don't have any hate in my heart. I don't have any anger towards anyone or anything or any process or anything. I'm a solutions-based person. And I know that we have to find a solution to what's happening right now. And I know that solution simply starts with us, me and you. What do we say? What do we do? How do we treat each other? Right? How simplistic could that be? How simplistic could it be just to start treating everyone, regardless of what they thought, regardless of what political party they believe in, or regardless of what their stance on the vaccine is, regardless of what their belief system about the big C is, regardless of what their thoughts on Afghanistan are. I mean, we're talking humans here. What if you just put all that up and you just simply said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to love people like I want to be loved. Because at the end of the day, that's really all we all want. We all want to be loved. We all want to be happy. We all want to have a feeling of sense of security. And right now you don't feel that. Right now you feel fear. And I get it. I dig it. I understand it. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't feel that. But if you want to move away from it, start auditing your inputs, right? Maybe turn the news off every once in a while. Maybe stop the face space every once in a while. If you get into one of those heated conversations, maybe just shut it down and say, hey, what else can we talk about? Who can we pray for? Who can we help today? Who can we love today? What can we do today to make our world a little better place? What if you just ask those simple questions? Like, nothing I just said there is monumentally challenging. What if you just started there? That'd be pretty rad, wouldn't it? We'd get to a better place. And at the end of the day, you'd feel better. At the end of the day, you'd feel, hey, we're going to be okay. It's going to be all right. But you don't feel that way right now because you're creating chaos for yourself. And I know you say, well, Jay, chaos is everywhere. But you got to be like that duck, right? He's cool as a cucumber on top, and he may be paddling like hell underneath, but he still looks chill, right? He lets water run off his back. And just because the chaos is around us, underneath the water is a little bit rough, we can still be cool to each other. We can still be chill to each other. We can still just love each other. I'm telling you, man, it sounds so simple when it comes out of my mouth. And and I'm probably a slight bit naive to think that it is. But what if you just tried it? Like, what if tomorrow, instead of attacking, you embraced that person? What if you even said something like this? Like, hey, man, I don't understand fully why you believe what you believe. It's not currently what I believe. And do this for me too. Be willing to change your mind. I have a couple of theories in how I run my life. I'm always confident, but I'm sometimes wrong. And I give myself the grace to change my mind anytime I want to based on new information that I receive. Think about that. What if you just gave yourself that grace? I give myself the grace to change my mind about anything I want to based on new information that I receive. So what if you just said to that person, hey, maybe I don't have the information you have. Maybe I haven't heard what you've heard. Maybe I haven't read what you've read. Maybe you haven't read what I've read. Maybe you don't know what I know. So we can do two things. We can have a conversation about it and communicate, and we can exchange data. And then we can both either agree to disagree, or maybe one of us will be like, oh man, I did not know that. That is okay. That's new. Let me digest that. Think about it. Or we can just agree that we don't agree and say, hey, that's okay. You're human. I'm human. We're American. We love each other. Let's just do that instead of this angst that we have together. Wouldn't that feel so much freaking better? Ideas, guys. That's all these are. These are ideas, these suggestions. This is what I do with my own personal life. If it resonates with you, if it lands with you, I hope you try it. Because I promise you, my sole goal is simple: make the world a better place, right? And I know for a fact that cannot be done with hate. It cannot be done with anger, and it cannot be done from a place of fear. So I'm going to leave you with this simple message. I love you. I want the best for you. And my prayers are that we all start treating each other, our country, and our world with a little bit more respect. All right, guys, I'll be back next week. Maybe next week we could talk about something cool. You know what I mean? Maybe next week we could talk about something fun, something transformational, something inspirational. But this is just heavy on my heart. I had to get it out there. If it resonates with you, I hope it does. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But I just feel like I got to do anything and everything I can do to try to get this world back on track. So I love you, and I'll see you next week.